People that know me quite well know that I follow works of Bessel van der Kolk and Gabor Mate, and they talk a lot about trauma stored in the body, but also trauma that you take on in utero when you're in your mother's womb and through the birth process. Immersion in water can decrease stress hormones by between 20 and 30%.
For me, meditation is really hard. It's hard for me to calm my mind. Just being under the water was instant meditation. Everything just stopped for me.
Perhaps take us through a typical WaterFlow session, what it would look like.
Basically, the whole purpose of the practice is to surrender, to let go, to trust. I have a lot of clients that come weekly or bi-weekly or monthly for a session just for that reason. And it's not like they're searching for like a otherworldly experience or...
they're not looking for nirvana.
They're also not looking for meditation. They're just looking to be like, oh, okay, I'm so relaxed. Yeah. Let me go home now and sleep for 10 hours. Because you can after a WaterFlow session. It's like you'll have the best sleep of your life. You're moving. I'm moving. And it's very intuitive. It's not a certain sequence.
Sounds like there's a lot of freedom in there to kind of feel your way into what's needed in the moment.
I feel a difference in the body from the beginning to the end. No matter how relaxed the person is.
Yeah.
There's always a shift.
The cure for anything is salt water, tears, sweat, and the sea. And I also know that in some cultures they say when you're feeling out of sorts, it's usually because one of these elements is imbalanced in your body. So for example, you need more earth, go and walk barefoot on the ground for a while. Hello, and welcome to Mindful Makers. If you're a well-seasoned listener of the show, then you'll know that this is where we shine a light and honor global brands and individuals who make meaningful efforts to positively impact the planet and communities through their dedication to wellness, creativity, self-awareness and growth, all through the lens of mindfulness. I'm Sahar, your host for the show, and I'm an experiential brand specialist, helping people to tell their stories in impactful ways. You can learn more about my work at sorsha.com. Today, I am honoured to welcome a woman whose name has become synonymous with the words WaterFlow and healing therapy. But not just here in Dubai, far beyond. You might already know and recognise Liberty Gelderloos for her famous womb steaming sessions, which have opened doors for countless women on their self-care journeys. But that is a story for another day. Today, we are here to immerse ourselves in Liberty's expertise as a certified liquid flow provider, trained through the prestigious Watsu India Institute under the Worldwide Aquatic Bodywork Association. Her qualifications extend across Watsu, water dance, and ocean body aquatics, making her a true pioneer in the world of aquatic bodywork. Liberty's passion lies in creating sanctuaries of healing where individuals can find the freedom to simply just be. Her work is not just about techniques, but more about facilitating profound transformative experiences in water. And I am so excited to get into the details for all of you today. So let's start the show. Liberty, welcome to the Mindful Makers community.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I know.
To be here.
We've been talking about this for months now, so it feels like I was thinking about it this morning. It's so nice to speak about something and finally have it come to fruition at the right time, at the right place. Thank you. I really appreciate your presence today.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and to share about WaterFlow. As you mentioned, a lot of times I'm talking about the womb. That's what I'm known for.
Yeah.
But the WaterFlow is something really special, and I'm so passionate about sharing it with the world. So thank you for allowing that.
We're going to get stuck in right away. So can you share a little bit, first of all, I guess, about your journey into the world of therapeutic bodywork, and how did you discover WaterFlow?
I had no idea something like this even existed not too long ago. And then one day I went to India to visit one of my best friends in Goa. And she organized a bunch of sessions for me, one of which was water therapy. So I experienced that in a pool in Goa and was like mind blown because I had never experienced something like that. And for me, meditation is really hard. It's hard for me to calm my mind. I have a Gemini sun, so I'm all over the place. You wouldn't think, but it's true.
I think a lot of people struggle with the busy mind as well. So you're not alone. I can really relate to that.
And so just being under the water it was instant meditation. Everything just stopped for me. And it was just me and my breath and the water. So that's when I really enjoyed the experience, the therapy for the first time, and saw how beneficial it was. But at the time, it was definitely not on my radar at all to say, oh, this is what I want to do.
Professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never even crossed my mind. It was just like something that I enjoyed experiencing. Because you know how sometimes you do something and you're like, wow, I want to become a yoga teacher, or I want to become, this and that. Not at all.
So you basically had this meaningful experience through these sessions that you did over there. And what was the catalyst that then kind of, I guess, moved you from that space of enjoying something for your own pleasure, but deciding you want to train in it to then share it with the world and help other people also have this experience?
Well, that therapist and I ended up having a little thing.
Okay.
And I invited him to Dubai. And then the second time he came, I was like, why don't we offer your WaterFlow sessions to my clients? And so we did that, and we saw how beautiful it was to combine with the womb and just for anyone here in Dubai to experience it, because it wasn't being offered.
Yeah.
And still at that point, definitely was not on my radar to even become a therapist. But Pranshu, my partner now, the therapist, was the one who said, you should do this. Like, your hands have something, like, because he's a body worker, very well known, very good at what he does.
Okay.
And he said it will also really go with what you do. And I still resisted it somehow. Like, I was like, no, I like to receive. I'm not very interested to give. And then he was like, you know what? Why don't I'll get you your first course. Try it. And he's very intuitive. He's a projector, if you know about human design.
Yeah.
So he said, just go. If you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. Like, that's it. So I went. And the first hour of the first day of the first course, I was like, oh my gosh, I loved it.
Something changed in you.
Yeah. And it's so weird. I couldn't even see that, or I couldn't even relate to that before that moment. Even the whole time I had planned to go, I went to India. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it.
That's quite magical. Sometimes we need, I guess, these individuals in our lives to gently nudge us in a direction to bring us closer to ourselves. I've seen that a lot in practitioners, but also myself, where something just feels like I'm not interested, but with a little, word from a friend or speaking to someone, trying something out that I wouldn't really have on my radar, and feeling the feeling inside, then I know that that's something that I will resonate with for a really long time. I'm hearing that's what happened in your experience too. And that's when you started your professional journey into WaterFlow.
Absolutely. And it's just so crazy to me how it was in my face and I was still rejecting it. And now I'm like, this is me. This is what I'm meant to be doing. Like, I can't imagine what it was like before I was giving WaterFlow sessions.
I'll talk about my experience later, but I really felt like you'd been doing it for years. So when you told me, this is a fairly new happening in your life, I was like, well, I feel like you were born to do this.
100%.
Okay, so for listeners that are unfamiliar with WaterFlow, can you perhaps take us through a typical WaterFlow session, what it would look like, how it would pan out, just so we can start to build a picture for people?
Basically, the whole purpose of the practice is to surrender, to let go, to trust, which is not easy for many of us as human beings. So the water helps us. That's what the beauty is. And it's in warm water. It's a one-on-one session.
Right.
You're in my arms basically the whole time. I take you at the beginning of the session is face out of the water. I'm just moving, floating your body through the water, massaging, stretching, and just really getting you used to being held, used to being in the water, and just waiting for your body to really relax and to drop into trust, basically. And at that point, I give you a nose clip, and you put that nose clip on your nose. And from that point on, you're breathing through your mouth, and I give you a sign, and the sign means to breathe in and hold your breath, and then we go under. And going under the water is really where the magic happens.
Right.
In the beginning, it's super short, seconds, just to get you used to it. And then gradually it gets longer and longer. And we play and you flow and you go on a journey. For everyone, it's different. And that's where, yeah, it's just beautiful to see also the body change. Anyways, we'll go into more of that. But that's basically what a session looks like.
Right.
And then at the end, I float you on your own with a pillow, and there's some sound healing involved.
It's one of my favorite parts. Oh my God, I really look forward to that. Just the feeling. I've never experienced sound healing in water. So it just takes the sensory experience to a whole different level, especially after you've gone through a WaterFlow session and your body's so relaxed and you feel, just like so utterly calm. To have that sensation, to add another layer of sound to it is magical. It's really, I feel transformative.
Yeah, and just to have the sound on the body in the water, I feel like it just travels, and
the vibration are different.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how does WaterFlow differ or build upon Watsu and other forms of aquatic therapy?
Watsu is the original water therapy, certified water therapy. Of course, water therapy has been used throughout, time, because water is very healing. So Watsu is like this guy named Harold Dull in California. He created Watsu because he was a shiatsu practitioner.
Right, hence the name.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
And he lived near a hot spring, so warm water. And he thought, what if I bring shiatsu into the water? How will this affect my clients? Will they be able to relax more? Will it be more effective? And he did that. And then he created a sequence, basically, of movements, stretching, massaging in the warm water. And the Watsu session is all on the surface. There's no underwater.
Right, okay.
But Watsu is the most well-known. The main difference is Watsu is more stagnant. We're really trained to stay in one place in the pool.
Float on the surface.
You're floating on the surface and you're just moving kind of back and forth in different ways. Very relaxing, very good for rehabilitation, for the body. But WaterFlow is underwater and it's a flow. So it's like a dance. You're moving, I'm moving. And it's very intuitive. It's not a certain sequence.
Sounds like there's a lot of freedom in there to kind of feel your way into what's needed in the moment and provide that to who you're working with as well. So not one size fits all in WaterFlow. You've got this freedom to be able to provide the movements that somebody needs in that time.
Sure, and definitely listening to the body and what the body wants. Like sometimes, this was a big lesson for me, because we learn to do certain things and you want to control it somehow and make it happen. And some bodies just don't want to do it. So to listen to that and to allow the body to do what it wants to do rather than what I want it to do,
Yeah, I think the word flow is really prominent here. So I also see that when working with the chakras. Some chakras have, certain energy around them, or your breath is a certain way when you practice. For example, let's use breath. Trying to control your breath so that it is in a certain way can sometimes just stress you out a bit more. But when you kind of fall into it and let it do what it wants to do and flow through the breath, then the balance actually comes out much easier. And I find that quite similarly. Finding your own flow in chakra work has actually been transformational for me too. So I think the word flow is key here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hello there. Just a quick break to ask for a small favour. I know there is so much content out there, and honestly, I have done zero marketing for this podcast beyond my own socials. But here's the thing, you matter the most. And I love hearing about how these episodes have impacted your life, and I'd love for the ratings and following to reflect that. So, can we make a deal? If you take a moment to follow, rate, and review the show, that would mean the world to me. And if you're watching on YouTube, tap the subscribe button and drop a comment. And I, in turn, will promise to keep bringing you the most meaningful, thought-provoking conversations I possibly can. Leave me however many stars you fancy. Just a few words on why would mean the world. Your support helps to grow this show and the community, and I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you. Now, back to the show. I have a funny story actually. So I don't know if I've told you this, but my journey to WaterFlow actually began 12 years before I met you. Where a very good friend of mine, actually she's more like a sister, she might be listening to this. Hi Shannon. She told me about what her Watsu experience as a teenager in South Africa. And I remember her describing it with such joy, pleasure, relaxation, and I guess like a dreamlike state when she was telling me about it, that it embedded this thought in me that I said, I have to try that one day. And then I kind of forgot about it, but I always thought, that'll be interesting. I wonder where I can find somebody who knows Watsu in Dubai. And then a few months before I met you, I was speaking to somebody about trauma stored in the body. So people that know me quite well know that I follow works of Bessel van der Kolk and Gabor Mate, and they talk a lot about trauma stored in the body, but also trauma that you take on in utero when you're in your mother's womb and through the birth process. So we were discussing, I said, well, how would you help heal that from a somatic perspective? What somatic therapies can one look into? And someone suggested Watsu/WaterFlow because you are able to recreate this feeling or memory for your nervous system of what it's like being in the womb. Is that something you would agree with?
Absolutely. There's many shapes that I put your body in that are kind of like the fetal position and moving through the water. Yeah, so it definitely can bring back memories. Like I have a lot of clients that talk about that, like remembering their birth almost. And that, for one example that comes to mind is this girl who was a C-section baby. And she said, after I had the session, she's like, I felt at one point that I was able to choose that I was ready to come out. Like, she's like, every time I came up, it was like, okay, I'm being birthed, but in the way that I wanted to be birthed. I wasn't forced out because she felt forced out somehow.
Right, interesting. And the body remembers that from a memory perspective. You might not cognitively believe it.
Exactly.
But yeah,
but she felt that. And of course, there's certain points where I will put your ear next to my heart and you'll hear my heartbeat in the water, which can also bring back these memories of birth.
Oh, that's one of my favorite times.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like it. Out of curiosity, does Pranshu also do that in his sessions?
He doesn't, no. No.
Very interesting.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Wow, magical. So there's been a lot of research into the effects of water, especially when it comes to stress management and feelings of relaxation. I know that the International Journal of Stress Management, they wrote that immersion in water can decrease stress hormones by between 20 and 30%, but also increase serotonin, which is a mood boosting hormone, by 20%. So You also mentioned earlier that the water that you work in is body temperature, so between, I guess, 36 degrees Celsius or 97 Fahrenheit approx. Is that right?
Ideally, the pool for a Watsu session or water flow session should be between 34 and 36 degrees body temperature. In Dubai, because I do it in a pool outdoors, the temperature is ideal at 33 because anything warmer is a bit too warm.
And you've got the sun as well, which kind of complements that.
Yeah. And you don't want to get too warm because then you'll feel a bit nauseous.
True.
So, but yeah, the idea is that you don't feel the water.
Yeah.
The temperature of the water. You feel one with the water.
There's actually a science behind that, because when we are immersed in that water that is close to body temperature, our parasympathetic nervous system activates the body's rest and digest system as well. So that puts us automatically also in a state of lower anxiety and relaxation. So I'm sure there's so many other elements that are happening with this therapy that you would not necessarily get with other body work.
It adds another dimension, really.
Yeah. From your experience having given this water flow sessions to so many people, what are the changes that you see in people generally before and after, apart from relaxation and maybe people don't tell you that they're feeling anxious, but lower anxiety? Have you seen other, I guess, positive benefits from this?
Yeah, definitely. During the session, firstly, like I feel a difference in the body from the beginning to the end. No matter how relaxed the person is.
Yeah.
There's always a shift. Sometimes it's more extreme, sometimes it's less. But just to feel that surrender, that letting go in the body, then you know it's translating into like the whole being somehow. A lot of times emotions can come up. I know that especially for men, I had a man the other day who said, I had feelings of joy, of sadness, of emotions, and he said it was really beautiful because it's hard for me to get in touch with those emotions in general. And I think it is harder for men to get in touch with these emotions, but to be able, I'm not saying that's going to happen to all men who do this, or anyone who does this, but it can create a space for you to feel.
Connect to your body and get out of your mind, like you said in the beginning, just kind of, I guess, encourage this meditative aspect that you're not aware that you're meditating. You're just so concentrated on the fact that you're in the elements, you have different sensations around you, that you're almost catapulted into a space of body awareness, which allows emotions to automatically flow and come out.
I have a lot of clients that are really stressed from work, have really high level jobs. And for them, it's a real relaxation, it resets the nervous system. They feel really it's a reset. It's really a reset.
Yeah. What you're describing also reminds me of elements of color psychology as well, because I know that the color blue and research into being around aquatic spaces in nature have shown and been proven to naturally relax the system. So when we by a river or by the sea or even by a pool, this element of water, reflection of the sky, just does wonders for our nervous system. So I can see how that would also complement, from a subconscious level, the experience. It's
Absolutely.
not even sensory and you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
You mentioned somebody who hadn't tried it before. For the people who might feel a little bit concerned about the fact that the idea of floating in the water feels unfamiliar with a therapist, or they might feel a little bit intimidated, what would you say to help ease their concerns?
A lot of people think, oh gosh, I don't know if I want to be so close to someone. It's very you think it's intimate in a sense of uncomfortable. Like we're not used to being touched or held by a stranger or by anyone really. But what I would say to that is that the water takes it away. Like there's no awkwardness. I don't know if you experience that, but it's just becomes very natural.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you're describing everything. Actually, I keep thinking about my experience with you, and we mentioned the heartbeats, and I really, really love it when I can hear your heart under the water. There's something very, womb-like about it, but also it kind of connects you back to life, because I can space out a little bit during our sessions and kind of feel like I'm in another world. And as you know, I can hold my breath quite a long time.
Very long. Like, when is she? She really wants to stay.
Yeah, so Liberty will take me gently under the water. I will be under the water, but even sometimes when she brings me out of the water, I forget to breathe, not because I don't want to. I'm just so relaxed that I'm in this space of, like, I don't know, utter letting go. And then I breathe, but it's not even a struggle for me. It's so crazy. My experience of working with you through this modality has shown me that there are so many new ways to explore self-awareness, self-relaxation, self-care, and integrating nature and in another form can heighten that experience in unexpected ways. And your ability to sort of know when's the right time also to go underwater, because sometimes I'm not ready, has also allowed me to trust that process. You're just so intuitive about it, so that when I do finally go under, I'm ready and it's enjoyable. There's a rhythm and a flow to it that allows for relaxation, but also the body moves very differently. My body moves very differently underwater. And sometimes it feels like a dance. Sometimes it feels like I'm flying.
Yeah.
That happened last time round. I literally thought I was like soaring through the air because the water was such a wonderful temperature. And yeah, it took me into a new space. It was beautiful. So it's my experience. In the beginning, I was like, this is going to be a bit weird. But then I was like, do you know what? I'm here. Might as well have an experience and let's go for it. And I think within the first minute, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like, my mind was somewhere else. I was so in tune with how my body was feeling. The analysis of it just disappeared.
Yeah, I think when your eyes are closed and you're in the water, you just forget kind of what the situation is and you just enjoy. And that's the point. Like, you're in the water, you're with the water, you're having this experience, and I'm just facilitating it,
Yeah.
And that's why it can also be so healing for, just to be held by the water. Like, it's really the water.
It allows people to just be. So when the water kind of takes you out of that space where you're holding on to something and trying to make it what you want it to be, but you're just submitting to it.
Exactly.
And that's where the release comes in, and that's where the letting go comes in, etc., which doesn't necessarily have to be a decision that's made. It just happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even if people are afraid of going underwater, like there's a lot of people that say, I would never do it because I don't want to go underwater. You don't have to go underwater, I have many sessions where we stay above the water.
So that is an option. You can stay above the water.
Yeah. Like for some people, it's like a clear no. Like, I don't want to be underwater. So, but you can still benefit, and it's still an amazing, relaxing experience. Like, it's like a massage in warm water, and you just float. Like, it feels so amazing just to be floated,
It can be a lovely addition to the self-care routine.
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you go to for even a purpose, but just like you would book a massage, you could book a WaterFlow session for your nervous system. I wish I'd known about that when I was working long hours in the corporate world, because I know that would have completely neutralized a lot of the stress from that space and a lot of the toxic energy that I was around.
Yeah, and that happens actually a lot. I have a lot of clients that come weekly or bi-weekly or monthly for a session just for that reason. And And it's not like they're searching for like a otherworldly experience or
they're not looking for nirvana.
They're also not looking for meditation. They're just looking to be like, oh, okay, I'm so relaxed.
Yeah.
Let me go home now and sleep for 10 hours. Because you can after a WaterFlow session. It's like you'll have the best sleep of your life.
Which is definitely needed in this very busy world. I'm curious also to know how, from your experience, you think WaterFlow can complement other types of therapies. So whether it's like cognitive behavioral therapy or other somatic therapies, do you see that being, I guess, paired with other forms and other modalities?
Yeah, so one of my clients who is a therapist, she recommends, like she'll create a program around surrender or trust or something like along these lines, and recommend her clients to come and do water sessions while they're working on that theme, basically.
That's fascinating because it actually puts the theme into practice and action. And so often the bee in my bonnet about a lot of talk therapies is you can spend years just talking about something and not feel like you're progressing or not feel like you're different in a profound way, or at least achieve the results you want or feel whatever. Lots of people have different kinds of, desires for why they go to therapy. But I was thinking about it the other day. It's the action that kind of moves things forward. You can talk about things all you want, but sometimes it's about acting on them. And connecting that with bodywork is an action.
Exactly. And then the beauty of when you're working on that in your therapy and then you're doing the water therapy, and then if you manage to let go and to surrender and to trust in the water flow, maybe not the first session, but eventually.
Some things take time.
Yeah. Then you really see it reflected in your life.
Because your body feels it. And there's nothing quite like feeling what you want to, I guess, become or be, that embeds it in your body rather than just thinking it.
Exactly. And you know the feeling. And then when something happens in life, you can be like, okay.
I can imagine, even though you're a space holder and a wonderful one at that, by the way, there are times where even you experience challenges or sort of lulls in life where you're just not feeling yourself or something's really, getting you down. What are your other practices in your metaphorical toolbox to help you navigate through these times?
To be honest, giving WaterFlow sessions is my therapy. No, right. It's why I love it so much. I mean, of course I'll tell more, but I have to be fully present during a session, or I get to be. I don't have to be. I get to be fully present. And I can't be in my head or thinking about anything else. I'm with that person in the water, fully present. And that is a reset for me. It's such a gift. So that's like the best thing. I don't have that many rituals and practices to keep myself in check. But being in nature, earthing, grounding, I always go back to that, to the water.
Yeah. There's that famous saying, isn't it, that says the cure for anything, I might not be saying this verbatim, but the cure for anything is salt water, tears, sweat, and the sea. I loved that when I thought about that. I was like, actually, yeah, all those things make you feel much better.
It's so true. A funny story is when I was younger, I could be quite moody. And I think that's my Cancer moon or something. But my mom would always tell me when she saw that I was in these phases to just go take a bath or a shower. And I would cry. I would just cry. And at the end, I don't know what I was crying about necessarily, but I would just have to release. And then I would come out and I would be new, be fresh, a new person. Yeah. So it's so true. And it was always the water that gave me that safe space to let it go.
That makes me think of, there are many cultures in the world actually where their ancient philosophies lie in balancing the elements in the body. So I know in Ayurveda, for example, you've got different doshas, and each of those doshas are connected to different elements, fire, air, water, earth, etc. And I also know that in some cultures they say when you're feeling out of sorts, it's usually because one of these elements is imbalanced in your body. So for example, you know, you need more earth, go and walk barefoot on the ground for a while, or, you know, work with your hands in soil. You need more fire, lay in the sun, get some warmth in your bones. And water, similarly, you know, take a bath, release that way. And I love that idea of approaching life in that way, that you're able to access your inner balance through connecting through the elements which are readily available in nature. It makes me wonder, is that why a day at the beach feels so good for many people? Because you get access to all of them. You have the earth, you have the sun, you have, I mean, if it's a sunny day, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually water flow, especially in the sea, in the short season that we can do that, it is really connecting to all the elements, because you have the earth. I mean, the water is held by the earth, right? And then you're in the water, and then you have the sun, the fire, and the wind on your skin, the air. So it's really, yeah.
Where can people find out more about you or about WaterFlow or Watsu if they're curious to start their journey wherever they may be in the world?
If you're in Dubai, you can always come for a session with me. My Instagram is WaterFlow_therapy. And yeah, I would say if you're not in Dubai, just search Watsu or water therapy, aquatic bodywork. These are all words that you can find probably what's nearest to you.
Before we go, I always like to ask my guests, my lovely guests, 2 questions. And I'm fascinated by the different answers I get each time. So the first question is, if you could give your younger self some advice sitting where you are today, what would that be?
Actually, it would be the same advice that I still give myself. And I would give myself then and now, is to slow down, play more, and let go, like enjoy, like, you know, the saying, dance like no one's looking, you know, sing like no one's looking, like that, you know, because I think we spend so much time just kind of like self-criticizing and wondering what other people think. So yeah, I think it's that.
An element of just being.
Yeah, just
playing.
Yeah, being playful.
Yeah, playfulness it's got some medicine in it, definitely. And I think we as adults forget to do that sometimes.
And as children too. Like I was a very serious child.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Oh, I would love to meet little Liberty. Okay, and what song captures your vibe at the moment?
Yeah, so it's definitely this song. It's called Magic in the Water. It's I love to play it during my sessions. I love to listen to it.
Watch out, people. We're going to share it in one of the posts. Yeah, that's a beautiful song, actually. I was listening to it the other day, and it captures your spirit very well. There's like a lightness and a flow to it.
Yeah, it has like that.
That is so breezy and gentle and, yeah, all-encompassing, accepting and being at the same time. Yeah, it's beautiful. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time today, Liberty. Honestly, it's been a pleasure, and I really hope that this continues and that we have you as long as possible here in Dubai, because it's definitely a gift for the mind, body and soul and beyond.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for today's show. Before we go, I'd like to leave you with a quote from the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu that says, "When you let go of what you are, you become what you might be." I genuinely hope these conversations leave you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take steps on your own unique mindful path. As mentioned, do check out the links in the show notes for further information on Liberty's work, but also her song. And if there's anyone in your life that you think would resonate or benefit from this show, then please share the link with them or share Liberty's work. For updates on the show, remember to follow me on Instagram, but also subscribe and rate the show on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, as it really helps to support the work we do and spread the word. Until next time, keep your heart open, your mind present, and trust that each step forward is part of your story. Bye for now.